Have you ever wondered where all your notes are gone? Where all your thoughts that you have collected, your web clippings and the articles, the PDFs, the ebooks that you have purchased, where all of this has been buried and nothing came back? No knowledge or no huge intuition, no big knowledge that you have developed, no conclusions that you could draw? Is it like that for you as well? But honestly, you're not alone. I think many people are making the same experience, and I definitely did. I have many, many years now collected a lot of articles. I did a lot of web clippings. I've archived them in several platforms. I started with Instapaper. I switched to Readwise and so on. I actually collect them now on my Remarkable Paper Pro. And I use this Remarkable clipping extension for quite some time. But since it's a little bit more complex and a little bit less comfortable to use, I did only a few out of the many that I've collected, for example, in Notion. Notion also has, by the way, a good web clipper. I've learned in the last couple of weeks, using the Remarkable Paper Pro, and even winning over the Remarkable 2 in this aspect, that less can really be more. I've been collecting so much information over the last couple of years. And by the way, I've been trying all the Zettelkasten approaches, the para method, simply organizing it, and essentially spending a lot of work in organizing and maintaining somehow a structure, a system into my knowledge archive. I even try things like Rome Research and others, connecting, backlinking items from one to each other, which is then a little bit more challenging if you have a mixed set of file types, not only notes that you are collecting, but also documents like Word documents, PowerPoints, if you will, or again, ebooks like PDFs and EPUBs. So honestly, I tried them all, and I have really tried to make the most of it, digesting this information, archiving it, and then later going through, etc. I tell you the honest truth, it didn't work for me. I have a vast amount of duplicates, of unorganized notes, of orphaned notes, of notes I will never find again, likely. But the only thing that somehow worked for me was handwriting. Handwriting on paper with a traditional ball pen, but that has its own set of disadvantages because it's not digital. You cannot archive it, you cannot scan it, you cannot replicate it, and there is a way of automatic, character recognition and somehow full text indexing, etc. in all of this. But of course, if it's on a paper, it doesn't work. And then you lose your notebook or you simply forget it. And yeah, you don't have it available. Imagine you go to the web and read a huge article. Yeah, like let's say 1,600, 2,000 words long. And you think, okay, that's interesting, and you clip it with some web clipper, whatever, and archive it in some sort of note-taking application. That's a huge thing. You are happy, it's archived, and you have been productive because you have done your research. But my experience is you haven't done anything, you have just collected. And collecting is not digesting. Collecting and digesting are two different things. And coming back to the video I was publishing a couple of days ago about productivity and the psychology behind, I think it's important to make this distinction and to make very clear what is archiving and what is digesting information. Maybe some of you have been studying at the university or high school or college, and you found that you had to read a couple of books, textbooks usually, and you found you needed some note taking, you did some margin notes, you wrote something down externally, not in the book itself, and somehow you had to come back to these notes because after first reading it, unfortunately, our brain is not that powerful as we sometimes wish it was. You did not remember everything, and you lost a good couple of information, and you wanted to repeat it at a later stage. Maybe if you had some experience already, like not such a young person anymore, like, I don't know, a teenager age, you had some knowledge about psychology, you understood that repeating in the evening before going to bed, before shutting down the light, is maybe the best routine, because overnight the knowledge in your brain can somehow suck down and get a little bit more body, and yeah, produce something in your brain which is called memory. And that is the most important thing, right? So you don't need notes, in fact, you need memory. And notes are not memory, it is not the same. Taking notes is not productive in the sense of creating knowledge. It's productive in the sense of archiving information. And that's a cool thing on one hand, but it doesn't produce any intellectual output. So the cognitive effect of it is negligible if you don't remember this information. If you're not able at the later stage to connect the dots between all of these bits of knowledge that you have somehow acquired. There is the catch. Any note-taking system that I have tried, maybe your mileage varies, but everything I have tried is just collecting information. And in addition, I found that the effort, the cognitive, but also the manual effort and the timing I spent in organizing the information, like, for example, tagging documents, sorting it into folders, backlinking with existing documents in order to get these nice knowledge graphs and graphic representations like in Rome Research and other applications that allow you to do this. That's a fantastic approach, but it requires a lot of effort and it takes a lot of time. And again, this story that I was telling in the other video, where I started as a young student to take notes at the university in handwriting during the lectures, and then I wanted to convert them into something beautiful, in something computerized. So actually layouted, fully designed like a book page, and I found that the effort spent and the cognitive energy I invested into this task was not giving any return on investment on the intellectual side. It just produced a beautiful output. Nice to archive, but not archived in my brain. And I think that's something many of you will, in some shape or form, experience in a similar way. Now, this is where this manual and analog note-taking comes in, because as psychology shows, there is a connection between your arm when you use a pen and you write something and your brain, because everything is somehow connected. And this connection pays off. So when you do handwriting, you have a different intellectual involvement in the content that you are writing down. And of course, there is a practical, I would say even hindrance or limitation when you are taking notes in handwritten form. You are simply not that fast when you are typing, or even now, dictating that into some recording engine and then using Whisper or any AI model to translate it into text. That's absolutely great if you want to record more or less realistic memory of what has been mentioned. For example, during a meeting where it's important to understand even, subclauses or small comments aside, and you have the full picture and you can read it, and that's fine. But you wouldn't digest it that way. You even would maybe call ChatGPT and say, give me a summary. And then that's the essence of the meeting. You need bullet points, you need somehow a structure, you need some digest of, a 1 hour meeting. Otherwise, you would never read this recording or this transcript again. Now, the same is true for me if I am taking notes. And I've been really now experimenting the last 3 weeks with the Remarkable Paper Pro versus the Remarkable 2 before, and conventional note-taking using pen and stylus, and note-taking on in Notion, essentially using the keyboard and mouse. So capturing information, clipping the information, then somehow fixing the issues with the clipped web pages. And at the end of the day, I found one thing. This is my outcome in the last 2-3 weeks. What I digested out of the document in handwriting, even if it's like a small subset of the information, but I could drill down the whole thing into the essence of the document, into the essence of the knowledge, into a few bullet points only. That is the capacity my brain is able to remember, and remembers almost after writing because it's so small. So the Remarkable Paper Pro is not only a book reading device for me, it is also really a revolution of note-taking, because I am now, and this is really something which is big for me, I'm actually giving up on all these web clippings and archiving huge amounts of articles and documents in the future. This does not mean I don't collect a few valuable resources for later reading. But for example, the web clippings I send to the device for reading, I delete later. I don't keep that as a permanent file. Because I read it, I digest it, and I take a few notes out of them, and I don't take it in the original document. I don't annotate it, but I open a note and I really summarize the most important things in handwriting on this device. So I have actually the best of both worlds. I'm still digital. I can still archive it, copy it, and have it on all the devices wherever I am, even, for example, in the Remarkable app on my Pixel phone. It's all available. At the same time, I have digested and reworked the information. I have not just consumed information, but the writing and the active extraction, summarizing, not by ChatGPT, but my actual intelligence, which by accident is also AI, helped me to get the most out of everything that I have had to read, I had to learn, or I wanted to remember. And that is a huge benefit. And honestly, the device, even if you consider all the limitations, is not too expensive for this experience. At the same time, it allows me to be the best e-reader because it is big enough to read A4 or US letter, whatever sizing convention and documents you use in your specific country. But these big size documents, you can read it. Maybe you need to crop the page a little bit. In the worst case, you can go to landscape mode and read it like that. You have the color, which is crucial for many scientific documents where you need color coding in your information. And at the end of the day, you are able to do all of your knowledge work in this one device. I still keep Notion for the time being. because it's a good document to organize other stuff. It has some sort of database features and so on. I wouldn't probably do this on this device only. But I found myself, when I watch a YouTube video which contains useful information, then I'm taking my Remarkable Paper Pro and do some handwriting. Did this work on the Remarkable 2? And is this now an argument to upgrade to this very expensive device? Maybe not. But for me, the size and the color are the two arguments that allow me or that justify the purchase for me. It's, of course, depends on your budget, if you're in the market for such a device, and on your use case. So, wrapping up the whole story, will I keep the Remarkable Paper Pro? Yes, I will. And I will sell the other e-ink devices except the Book Palmer and the Go 10.3. The Remarkable Paper Pro is absolutely boosting my productivity and also relieving my mental capacity and leaving me much more time and much more focus to deal with other things. And I will not anymore need any Zettelkasten or anything like that, because honestly, I'm not going to digest it anyway. I don't have the time for that. Your mileage may vary, but that's it for me. And maybe it helps you and declutter your digital life as well. And make your digital note-taking a little bit easier in the future. Hope this helps. And I'm seeing you in the next one.